What is going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you this evening and bring you a story out of Louisiana detailing a white man, a 66-year-old white man, who was shot and killed by two black men just because he was white. Could you imagine, man, the media attention this story would get if he were a 66-year-old black man? And two young white men killed him just because he was black. Could you imagine? But again, you're not going to hear too much about this. Why? I think we all know.
Police look into possible hate crime charges as they reveal new details about the circumstances leading up to the killing of Metairie handyman Lawrence Herr last month.
As Rob Masson reports, they say one of the suspects has admitted to his role, saying they just wanted to go out and kill a white guy.
They have been booked with the first-degree murder of 66-year-old handyman Lawrence Herr, also known as Peanut, who was gunned down while repairing this mailbox on Kenner's Georgetown place last month.
This man was out minding his own business. He was a good Samaritan, just doing his job as he does. As you travel through this community, people speak very highly of him. So it's just sickening.
During a Tuesday video appearance in magistrate court, Kenner Police Detective Nicholas Engler said that 23-year-old Taj Matthews and 25-year-old Maurice Holmes were captured on surveillance video taken at a Clemson Drive apartment complex just 2 hours before the killing. In the video, the detective testified that Holmes can be seen passing a weapon to Matthews. The detective also testified that a box of 9mm bullets were found on the floor of the car used in the deadly drive-by shooting last month.
Later in the confession, they did indicate that they were specifically not only looking to kill somebody, but they wanted to be a white person. So that would set up the charge of a hate crime.
Detective Engler also testified that Matthews confessed to hiding a 9mm pistol in his attic, while Holmes, who served 6 years in a Texas prison for domestic violence, has been tight-lipped. Both men worked at a nearby IHOP. The detective said that Holmes went to work that morning and presented a doctor's note saying he was sick. He was allowed to leave 2 hours before Herr was murdered. While Kenner police say defendant Taj Matthews has allegedly made some incriminating statements about the crime which occurred here last month, they say co-defendant Maurice Holmes has denied any involvement in Mr. Herr's killing. Magistrate Commissioner Paul Schneider denied bond for the suspects. Matthews and Holmes remain locked up in Jefferson Parish after being booked with the first-degree murder of Lawrence Herr, who died shortly after being fatally shot while doing his job. From Kenner, Rob Masson, Fox 8 Local First.
Took my friend away from my best friend, my everything. You know, and for them to say it just felt like killing a white person. I mean, that's so wrong, you know. And I want justice for Peanut. I want justice for him. I want them to, lock them up and throw away the key. That's what I want.
The defense attorneys questioned the clarity of the surveillance video, the timeline, and the level of planning that goes into a first-degree murder charge. But Tuesday, the court found probable cause to hold the defendants as charged with first-degree murder.
All right, guys, man, we got to look at why this is not making the national news. Why we're not hearing about this. I think we all know why. I think every single one of us, we understand why we're not hearing about this. Why? Because, man, the victim was white. The victim was white, man. Poor Peanut, man. He was the wrong color. Rest in peace, man. He was the wrong color. The poor guy, man, he was out there doing his job, fixing a mailbox, doing, whatever he was doing for the maintenance company or whatever they worked for, the management company. He was out there doing his job. And two black guys, man, rolled up behind him and shot him. They killed him. Why? Because he's white. That's it. There's no other reason except for the man being white. And again, man, could you imagine if it were a black 60-some-year-old black man, meanest man, and he was out there fixing something and two white guys rolled up behind him and shot and killed him? Could you imagine the backlash? Could you imagine the outcry? Everyone talking about systemic racism and white supremacy and everything else, man. People would become unhinged. Really, I mean, I swear to God, there'd be riots, there'd be protests. I mean, look at the Jordan Neely situation. Again, man, the guy got onto a train, threatened other people, with bodily harm, up to death, possibly. And three guys stepped in, one being the Marine, Daniel Perry, stepped in, put the guy into a chokehold, and the guy wound up dying, which was unfortunate. But everyone's out there, protesting, yelling and screaming like, oh, Black Lives Matter, like what? All this stuff, man. Al Sharpton is giving a speech. People, again, they don't care. They don't care. But again, man, it's nothing about Jordan Neely. It's about fitting a certain narrative. They don't care about the guy. They don't care at all, man. They're using him. They're using him to push a certain objective. That's it. That's all they're doing. They don't care about him. And poor old Peanut Man down there in Louisiana, nobody's going to hear of him. Why? Because he's white. Because he's white. And again, man, if you're black, people will be out there protesting in the streets. I mean, could you imagine? Could you imagine, man, this little bit of the stuff about Jordan Neely, and he was doing something wrong. It does not matter if the guy had a mental illness or whatever. It does not matter. Man, he was doing something wrong. But again, man, so in this case, man, if this were a black 60-some-odd-year-old maintenance man, and two white guys killed him just because he was black, yeah, there'd be all kinds of outrage. All kinds, man. But again, people don't care about him because he was white. They don't. Maybe locally they do, but nationally they don't. They don't. And again, all of us know why. We know what's going on. We know what's happening. We know what's happening, man. It's all about pushing a certain political agenda. That is it. They don't care about him. They don't care about Jordan Neely. But, white lives definitely do not matter. And black lives, they don't really matter either, unless a white guy killed them. Unless they did. Justified or not, it doesn't matter. Unless a white guy killed them. Or they can somehow trace it back to white supremacy. Trace it back to white supremacy. To white supremacy. Again, man, yeah. Unless they can somehow trace it back to that. Like the cops in Memphis that killed the young man down there. I mean, again, man, it's not about the cops being maybe evil or being angry about something or whatever, man. It's nothing about that. Nothing about that. No, they were white supremacists. They had to be white supremacists. You had to make that about that. So again, unless they can somehow tie it to white people or somehow make it about white supremacy, nobody cares. Nobody cares, man. Again, they got to make that Mexican shooter down there in Texas, they got to make that about white supremacy as well. Because why? Because that's what sells. Again, man, nobody cares about the other stuff. Nobody cares. So again, we had to look at why. We had to look at what is going on, what they're trying to force down our throats. Again, guys, we got to look. There's a certain political agenda at place here. They're trying to force down your throat. They're trying to force down all over throats. And again, man, they don't care. They don't care about anyone except for their objective. But anyways, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks. You son of a.